So I tried to make this video and very quickly felt, nope, it's not time. There's more to this. The main reason the video was kind of wrong the first time was because I came in with a little bit of a I've conquered this attitude. So the first lesson of all this, I'm going to go into the first lesson before I even start telling the story. When it comes to letting things go, I think the most honest way to explain it to people is that you have to authentically want to let it go. And then you just kind of have to allow the process, meaning that it's one thing to say, I'm letting that go, and it's another thing to live it. You will give yourself opportunities again and again to kind of test, have you really let that go? Or are you just saying it? You really can't trick yourself. I said some of the videos are going to be in the moment as they are happening to me. And the universe delivered. So I have my first one. Here we go. I've been making these videos, not consistently by any stretch, but for a little over a year, I've been making videos to kind of talk about things that I think are valuable to share as I think of them. But I was cutting a short to help give some visibility to the last video I made. I just had this thought, and I never think this. What am I going to do when somebody makes fun of my lisp? I had my normal first instinct of trying to come up with some clever comebacks. But, I'm doing the work, so I kind of moved away from that right away to sort of a clear cancel release mindset of, whoa, stop thinking about that. You're going to manifest it. And hooray, victory. That video has been the first thing that I've really ever put out where somebody pointed out that I have a lisp and somebody else got in on commenting on it. So two people thought it was necessary to bring up that I have a lisp. And I feel a little bit of anxiety coming up, which is going to relate to the bigger point. This video, guys, was going to be me coming in so confidently sure that that is a shame program that I have worked through and that I am okay with. I thought with full honesty that was the video I was going to make about 1 hour ago. But I couldn't make it because I got the feeling I'm having right now that no, you haven't worked all the way through. So there's that lesson. We can tell ourselves that we're letting it go, and that is the first step. But then you have to just keep accepting that some of these things are buried deep and you can consciously let it go. You can intellectually know all the things I'm going to talk about that were originally going to be the first video to inspire you to let go of your shame. But that doesn't mean it's gone. We can't lie to ourselves. What does that mean? What do? It's kind of the same answer to everything. You relax into it. You just accept things for what they are and you allow them. I know I want to let it go, but there's still some pain that I probably pushed down, especially in those junior high years where it was such a brutal thing that I had to deal with. And that's still in there. I was going to say probably. I can feel it right now. It is still there. So until I really allow it all to be felt, it's not going to go away. So now let's talk it through. What is it? What is it that I haven't worked through? What is it that's the deeper point of what this all really speaks to? It's about our ability to accept ourselves for who we are, as is. Accept ourselves as exactly what we're supposed to be, to have the experiences we are here to have, and to have no shame, to have no second guessing of any of the things you've done in the past. And if there's things you've done that you say are regrettable, and I guess it depends on what you mean by regret. If you've learned from it and you know that you'll never do that again and you never want to do that again because you don't like that that's something you've done in the past, then that's the service that it provided to you. And now you can move forward knowing that you've learned that. You have to be 100% comfortable with who you are. Why do we need perfection, right? Because true perfection is complete uniformity. So our imperfections are the essence of our individuality. Does that mean you should never fix anything? No, no, it doesn't mean that. It means you have to decide for yourself how important it is. According to the people that made those comments, I suspect that from their point of view, it would be worth me getting a speech therapist and putting in the hours it takes every week for the length of time it would take to really make a significant difference. But why? Because it makes some people uncomfortable. Many people have told me that they don't even notice it until I point it out. Now, maybe they're being kind, but it's a high enough amount that I believe that some percentage of them have been authentic on that. It doesn't seem to be a deal breaker for a lot of people. And I think especially for the message I'm trying to give, it allows me to have that extra level of vulnerability with you by just allowing something that's such an imperfection as deemed by our society. I also had to put some thought into other things about the way these videos are. You know, you still have all this production around you, and you sort of dress in a way that, in some ways, does have a little bit of a hidden quality to it, right? I think the hood gives that, and the toque. And the truth is, this is what I dress like. This is what I look like around the house. I wear a toque all the time. It was -11 today. My heat pump finds it hard to keep up with that. And I'm unemployed, which I like to mention a lot. So, I'm not looking to have $1,000 heat bills. So I've got the toque on, I got the hoodie, and I put the hoodie up and it keeps me cozy. So I just feel like this is actually the authentic me. I'm comfortable with the whole thing. Like everything on this path, it's all in the nuance. It's all in the gray. It's all in your discernment and how true you're being to yourself. That's what we're doing here. We're learning to be true to ourselves. For me, I've grown to accept the lisp on a couple of levels. I see so many challenges it has put in front of me for my whole life that have created so many of the things that are a deep part of my personality now. So it was fundamental to creating who I was. If I like who I am right now, which I do, then I have to be thankful for all that. Throughout my junior high years, when you go into all these new classes with all these new people you've never met before in every class, and I came from a really small elementary school where the same 25 kids knew me for 7 years. We grew up together. Like, I didn't even really know I had a lisp. I mean, I kind of was, I think I found out in like grade 5, like, believe it or not, because you don't hear yourself the way others hear you. I just thought all tape recorders just sounded weird anyway. But then I go to this fairly large junior high school, and it's like class after class after class where you have to say your name in front of the class, and the teacher never could make me out on the first try. So I had to usually repeat myself 3 to 4 times in every one of those classes and, be basically laughed at the whole time. And I just think about how that led to my very first memories of laying awake all night in anxiety. It was such a big part of putting me on the path that I was on. You're like, that doesn't sound like a good path. And it wasn't in many ways. But in other ways, I think about we put our challenges in front of us for a reason. They're not just random. And they're all building to something or to learn something. They all have a purpose. And we decide. I know deep down in my being that if I didn't feel that my struggles were enough, I don't know how comfortable I'd be trying to talk to you the way I am right now. And you're saying, what a small challenge you gave yourself. Yeah, that that's what I mean. It's like in some ways, not being able to say your name to new people your whole life without fearing that they're going to laugh at you is probably a much more fundamental handicap than you could ever imagine if you didn't have it. But I could see that if I was building a life plan and I saw that my options for disabilities or impediments was there's two syllables that you can't really say right. You can't really make the sound the way they're supposed to be made. I'd be like, sign me up for that one. It's so insignificant. Thinking of all the things we go through, it's so small, even though the effects of it were real. And it led to all the other things that got me to full on depression and being suicidal, which is why I think I have a story to tell about how to turn it around. I hit a rock bottom and I needed a path to that. And I kind of like the path because it also leaves a reminder of that thing that I let hold me back in so many ways my whole life that I didn't have to, that I could have put in perspective. The fact that I never thought I could be a singer because I had a lisp. So I had to be behind the scenes. I had to work with other artists, which led to this whole thing of me always feeling like I needed to be in the support, that I couldn't be in the front. It led to a challenge that made me find my voice. I had to be willing to speak out, even though there were challenges to doing so. It's, if you're willing to keep looking, everything in your life turns into a beautiful metaphor. And it's a lot better way to look at everything. So, as far as the two people that made the comments, they did help me in multiple ways. They helped me because they got me into this thought process. They helped me because they engaged with my content. They did what I needed for me. And whatever reason they did it in their mind, that's none of my business. That's their path. But if I was guessing, I would assume it has something to do with an insecurity that they have. We only mock when we feel that we have vulnerability inside the in group. So if we're in the middle of the in group and we're pointing out and we're laughing at somebody else that's in the out group, then we've solidified in our mind our place in the in group. It's very deep seated. That's for them to figure out, and I wish them all the best in doing that. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And if you're thinking, I got to tell this guy, it's not that bad. I could barely hear it, or you want to give me some kind of kudos or encouragement for discussing this, I really appreciate it. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it, but I'd prefer you didn't. I'd rather place it in the category of irrelevance as opposed to something I'm overcoming. I don't want this in any way to turn into a pity parade for something that I really am working towards having gratitude for. If you'd like to say you like the video, I would appreciate that so much if you would consider sharing it. I can't say how much I would appreciate that. I just want to get this information out to people. The more I can be authentic and 100% real, I think the better it will be for my growth. So it's selfish in that way, but also just the more useful I think it will be to anybody that hears it. And I just think it's time for us to just start getting real with each other. I didn't need to put on a show and show those two people that they didn't hurt my feelings. They hurt my feelings a little bit. That's a deep, deep wound that maybe there'll always be a way to kind of get me by using it. I don't think so though, because well, no, I'm going to change my verbalization of that. It's something that I am going to let go of because I already feel the empowerment of it. I already feel the gratitude for it even. And this is something that is so true on this path that I never could have believed even 1 year ago, that you can have gratitude for some of the worst things in your life. You really can, if you're willing to put in the time and just be vulnerable enough and honest enough with yourself to just try to understand why you would do this to yourself, because nobody else does anything to you. Whatever level that makes sense for you, if that has to mean I can always control the way I react, the way I perceive it, the way I use this situation, that really is the truth, then that's great. But this whole thing is just for the experience. We are much more than we perceive, and every experience has value, and negative and positive. are our interpretations of it. But anyway, that's a little off topic for today. But once you really do start accepting that way of thinking, you can get to gratitude for the things you used to have so much disdain for. Here I am now, something that I've hated for my whole life has prompted what I feel is probably my most intimate video I've made yet. And intimacy and vulnerability and authenticity are the only things I care about when I make this video. I love you. Bye bye.